It's Friday, March 23rd. Welcome to Pastor Bob Daly. I identify this podcast every day by the date. But a lot of you, in fact most of you, don't listen to it on the date that I put it out. Some listen the next day, some several days later. I have a question for you. Is it easier for you if I identify this by the date, or if I begin to list these podcasts by episode? Would you let me know? Either one is fine with me. My friend Keith from Facebook has an interesting question. I love the Christian metal rock scene as much as anyone. That will never change. My question is, I also like guitar instrumentalists like Satriai, Paul Gilbert, Steve Vai, etc. I do too, Keith. They aren't faith-based or Christian-based musicians, but from what I can tell, they don't put out wicked or blasphemous lyrics. Is it okay to listen to them even though they're not particularly edifying, or is that the reason I shouldn't? Those guys put out great music, but is there potential to weaken my walk? Great question. There's so many things that come to mind, honestly, Keith, that I could say. But let me speak from my heart for a minute. I become more and more frustrated with the so-called Christian music scene. I really do. And I've been doing this for a long time, 40 years. And so I can talk about this with a little bit of authority. I've earned the right to make some comments, okay? Because I helped build this. I don't think there's a whole lot of difference sometimes between Christian and secular. I really mean that. For a couple of reasons. If you're talking about worship music, that's kind of in a class by itself. If you're talking about everything else, these days people record in so many different ways. I know a lot of Christian musicians, so-called Christian musicians, that aren't very Christian. I know a lot of great Christian musicians who are on secular labels. And I know a lot of people who are putting out great music who I probably wouldn't call Christian. So what's okay to listen to? Is it I should only listen to words that have the word Jesus in them? Or is it okay to listen to a lot of other things? A great place to start would be to go to the Psalms. David has some psalm where he's, and again, the whole psalm was put to music. These are songs. And David has some where he's, talking about the Lord and his faith, others where he's not doing very well and he's really bummed out and he's talking about other things as well. Does every song have to have the word Jesus? Does every musician that I listen to have to be a Christian? Now there's the two extremes. And folks, I find myself in the middle of that one all the time. Now, I love good music. I was raised beginning with Elvis Presley, the Beatles, etc., etc. And I still love all that music too. And I realize, folks, that not everything in my life has been Christian. In fact, when I was starting to listen to music, there really wasn't any Christian rock and roll. I've really been working all these years in helping to pioneer that. But these days, you have a lot of things you can listen to. A whole lot different than where we were way back then. But does that mean that the music that I listened to while I was growing up was satanic? Did it steer me in the wrong direction from my faith in the Lord? No, it didn't. Really didn't. In fact, those are some of my very, very favorite albums these days. And I love listening to them, and I love the nostalgia of the whole thing. I'm about ready to sneeze. Okay, there we go. So, I would suggest, folks, that you listen to music, first of all, that you enjoy. Secondly, that matches your lifestyle. Wow, there's so many things you can listen to. It can be about love, it can be about life, it can be about a lot of things. Now, should you listen to music that is blasphemous? That is anti-Christian? Should you listen to music that has a lot of profanity? Should you listen to music that talks about sex in some very wrong ways? Probably not. It's not good for you. Whatever goes in your heart comes back out again, but not all of it has to be praise and worship. There's a lot of things to experience. God created life around us, and music reflects life. So choose your music according to your lifestyle. Choose it according to your belief system. Choose it according to the way that you live your life and the things that you celebrate. And honestly, Keith, for me, that would include Satriai, Paul Gilbert, Steve Vai, Phil Keaggy, people that are great guitar players and great musicians. That's my opinion. You may have another one. I hope that helps. God bless you. Have a great day.